Willis goes up 1-0.
The double is finally there. Jordan Burroughs scores and takes the lead. Burroughs attacking the double at the edge. He scores. Jordan Burroughs, 10 seconds from goal. He said, all I see is gold. Now the world will see gold around his neck. Jordan Burroughs, an Olympic champion.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Richard Emmel with USA Wrestling. I have 4 of our athletes here to talk to you today. So I'll go one by one, introduce them, ask them a question, and then we'll open it up for you guys to ask questions as well. So I'll start at the very end. Adeline Gray, 3-time world champion in women's freestyle wrestling at 75 kilograms. And I'm going to ask Adeline first to talk about the opportunity to become the first women's wrestler to win an Olympic gold medal. Both our ladies have an outstanding shot to do that this year, so go ahead.
Hi everybody, my name is Adeline Gray. I'm a 3-time world champion in women's freestyle wrestling, and the United States does not have an Olympic gold medalist yet for Team USA, and the opportunity to go in and be the first Olympic gold medalist is just be really icing on the cake for wrestling in the United States for women. I think it's really groundbreaking right now what we're able to do, and the opportunities that are really budding and opening up for college scholarships, for women getting to travel and make national teams, and we're just ready for that Olympic gold medalist, and I would love to be the person to fill that shoes, and I'm hoping there's multiple of us. I have a very strong team headed into Rio, and Helen and I are one of them favorites to go in and win gold.
Awesome. Thanks, Adeline. Right here in the white shirt, Andy Bisick. He's a 2-time bronze medalist in Greco-Roman wrestling in the World Championships, won bronze. Andy, since you are the only Greco-Roman wrestler up here, the other 3 wrestle freestyle, so it's a different discipline. Maybe first, explain your discipline a little bit, the benefits and how you wrestle Greco upper body, and then also explain how you are part of leading the charge of a new generation of Greco-Roman wrestlers under new leadership.
Well, yeah, I wrestle Greco-Roman, which is attacks just using the upper body. Can't go and grab legs or use your legs to trip them or to in any kind of way. And like he said, kind of trying to lead the charge. We've had a number of years where we hadn't got any medals, and after 5 years with no medals, I was able to take 3rd in 2014, and then took 3rd again this last year. And I'm excited to be that guy, but I think there's a number of athletes right there ready to follow, and it's exciting.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. Here to my left, Helen Willis. She is a 2015 world champion in women's freestyle wrestling. Helen, I just want to ask you about the opportunities that women's wrestling has provided you and the growing opportunities you see for women in this sport.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, my name's Helen Willis. I've been wrestling since I was 7 years old. When I first started, I didn't have the same opportunities that a lot of the guys had. I had to grow up wrestling on a boys' team. But as my career has progressed, I've just seen so much growth and change. I've been a part of multiple campaigns that have really supported growth in women's wrestling, and I think as of right now, it would be incredible to say after this Olympic quad that not only did we have 6 gold medalists for the women's team, but that also we're having women's wrestling get added to D1 college schools or Ivy League schools, where girls growing up can have opportunities, not just to wrestle in the Olympics, but to get an education and wrestle as well. So that's been really dear to my heart. I went to Canada to go to university to get my education and wrestle, and both those things are really important to me. So I'm hoping that my Olympic journey can kickstart into the future and continue to grow women's wrestling.
Awesome. Thanks, Helen. And directly to my left, Jordan Burroughs, 2012 Olympic champion, 3-time world champion, 2011, 2013, 2015. I think I got all of them. Jordan, since you're the cool cat on the block, talk about how to make wrestling cool. Jordan has so many great ideas on social media, has a huge following.
Thank you.
But talk about your sort of role in providing leadership for the sport in that way.
Absolutely. So I think in 2011, when I've made my first world championship team and then won the world championships in Istanbul, Turkey, I was kind of thrust into the position of ambassador for the great sport of wrestling. And I wasn't prepared for it. And so afterward became an immediate process of, if this is even a word, groomification. I had to be groomed into this position to put myself in the spotlight and be comfortable with it, and understand that the weight of the wrestling world was on my shoulders and I was dependent upon to make it cool on a grassroots level, on a youth and scholastic level, and now on an international level. And so with each quad approaching, I think that the job becomes bigger, more responsibility, more awareness, more expectations and more pressure, but also we become better athletes, more mental toughness, more preparation, more confidence in our abilities. And so now the only thing left to do is win. We've done all the work, we've prepared up to this point, now we just got to execute.
Perfect. All right, so I will take any questions for our athletes. We'll run the mic to you and just state your name, affiliation, and then we'll let you ask the question to our athletes. Anyone?
Hi, Rachel Blount from the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. Looking at the changes that have been made in wrestling since your close call a couple of years ago when wrestling was almost eliminated from the Olympic program, could somebody from each discipline tell us a little bit about changes that have been made in your discipline and how it's become more fan-friendly or more exciting?
I'd like to start that one. Adeline Gray, I'm a women's freestyle wrestler, and the changes that kind of happened in this quad for wrestling have made it more exciting. And there's so many points that are going up on the board. There's kind of a stigma that the heavier weight classes don't score as many points, and I'm the super heavyweight for women's wrestling at 75 kilos. And I'm scoring an average of 30 points a tournament, and that is fantastic. It's fantastic for the fans, it's fantastic for me because I get to get points on the board. And it's more exciting to have transitions of moves and just really enjoying kind of spectators getting excited about different roles and different takedowns. And I've had even people that have never talked to me about wrestling before telling me, like, I really like that move you do. I think it's called a gator roll or some sort of like spiral thing, and it's called a leg lace, but everybody else's interpretation of the word or names is also fun to kind of experience. So for freestyle wrestling, more points are going up on the board at all weight classes, and it's a more exciting thing to watch.
Andy?
Yeah, I'd say the same for Greco as far as points being on the board. I think what really helped was the years leading up to that, they were changing the rules almost every year, or not even every year. Every 6 to 8 months, they were getting a new set of rules, and nobody watching or even wrestling knew what was going on. So the fact that they took this new set of rules and said, we're sticking to this until 2016, it helped people get a chance to get caught up and learn the rules.
Jordan, you want to answer?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's been a number of rule changes that have been significant enough where the wrestling community actually appreciates them, but where non-traditional fans can understand the sport a little bit better. And so as Adeline stated, the scoring changes have been more significant. And so thinking back to 2012, there were 3 periods, and each period was 2 minutes, and it was the first person to win 2 out of the 3 2-minute periods. And now fast forward to 2016, there are 2 3-minute periods, and the scoring is cumulative. So I think it really shows appreciation for aggressiveness, athleticism, and there's not a lot of snaking. And what I mean by snaking is guys waiting to late in periods to score points. I think now when you watch the sport of wrestling, you can see who the dominant figure or the dominant wrestler is. And so that's what I appreciate about it, is those rules changes.
Awesome. Any other questions? Right here to the right. Yeah, right behind you.
John Meyer, Denver Post. Alan, could you talk about what Adeline has meant to the sport with all her world championship medals? Mm-hmm. And also, I know you train down there. You see her probably on a daily basis. Talk about what it's like to watch her train and what kind of athlete that she is.
Together with Adeline?
Yeah.
Okay. No, Adeline and I, let's see. How long have I known you?
8 years.
Yeah, I've known Adeline for a really long time. We actually both left home to go to the U.S. Olympic Education Center in Northern Michigan, and we were roommates together. And that was also our first junior world team. And I took a bronze medal that year, and Adeline had won the junior world. So we've been on this journey a really long time, and it's really nice to have a teammate that you just have these memories with. We've seen each other. We've been together through wins and losses. So one of the things I really appreciate, people think that wrestling is an individual sport, and it's really not. We kind of say, if you get the job done, it will get taken care of for the team. And so I focus on myself, Adeline focuses on her training, but I don't, during the days we competed on the same day at the Worlds, I'm not thinking about her, what she's doing, but I trust and I know that she's gonna get the job done because I've trained with her in practice, and I know that she works hard, she put the work in. We did the same training cycle with Terry Steiner, the head coach, so it is, and we've been on World Cup teams together, so yeah, having a teammate like Adeline and a friend like Adeline, you're around good company, and I think that's really important. They say you are, the company that you keep. So I'm surrounded by amazing, incredible athletes and people. I've hung out backstage with Jordan, his wife, his kid, who's so well behaved. So it's just nice to see that. And Andy, he was at the Olympic Education Center in Northern Michigan too. So I'm surrounded by great people, and Adeline and all these guys are so inspiring.
We had one over here.
Nancy Armour from USA Today. This is for Jordan. In addition to the titles that you've won, you've also compiled 2 pretty impressive streaks of being unbeaten. And I'm wondering how you've managed to maintain that dominance when you do have the target on your back as being the number 1. And I'm also wondering how you've juggled this, or how maybe it's changed you as a wrestler, being a husband and a father now.
Absolutely. That's a great question. Amazing question. Having a streak creates a lot of expectations, but none that I don't already place upon myself. I have high expectations for myself as an athlete, as a man, as an individual. And wrestling has helped me build a lot of character through these experiences, knowing that I have to remain humble, but also fight complacency, knowing that it's a difficult place being undefeated. Because for me, beating the average Joe is of no significance. But for the average Joe, beating me could be the biggest match of his life, potentially. And so I understand that. And I approach every match with that same mindset, that laser-like focus, knowing that this guy's trying to beat you. This will change his life if he's able to, what people deem impossible, and beat you on this very particular moment. And so that's tough. It's tough, but I bring my best to every single event. And so I appreciate everyone else's best. I love the scrap. I love the battle, the one-on-one combat, and the testament of willpower that the sport brings. And then as for being a father, it's tough. It's hard. It's hard being a father and a husband and being the best wrestler in the world. You want to be the best at all 3, but you only have a limited, finite amount of energy that you can divvy to each individual endeavor. So that becomes difficult. And especially as a high-level athlete, like, we spend most of our lives getting everything accommodated for us, making sure I'm okay, I'm fed, I'm in a good position, I'm doing well financially, I'm happy. And so now, after practice, I'm coming home and I've got to transition to where I'm selfless. And I've really got to deny myself and make sure that my wife and my son are happy. And it's been fun, though. It's the hardest job you'll ever love. I heard it described as one point, and it's very true. And so I've embraced it. This is something that I've enjoyed and that I've brought upon myself. I asked my wife for her hand in marriage. I asked for her to start a family with me, and I asked to be a father. And so when I bring these things onto my plate, I understand that it takes a certain level of mental toughness as well as focus to do all three of these things well. And I want to do those things. That's what creates greatness. Creating a legacy is not about doing extraordinary things, but about doing the ordinary things really well. And so I take pride in that.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right, yeah, way in the back.
Keith Lair, Los Angeles Newspaper Group. Jordan, you said earlier about grooming to after winning the thing. How hard was that, and was it surprising or shocking or anything?
What was that? I'm sorry, could you
You talked about grooming your publicity to speaking out and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's so hard because there's a persona that you want to have publicly with the media, but there's also a real person. And so I understand there's always going to be a difficult transition to be transparent, absolutely, and be authentic at all times. I pride myself on being organic, but there's also things that I do in public that I probably, in private that I wouldn't do in public. There's things that I'd say to my wife that I wouldn't tweet about. And so there's always a precursor that you have to have in displaying some of your intimate private life into the public. And so I really wanted to create a person that was general and even keeled all the way through. I wanted to create a public persona that was in alignment with who I was as an individual. And so that created a different transition in my life, because when I first won my world championship, I wasn't who the public would have really appreciated or respected. And so that created the process. And that really created me from just a great wrestler to not only a good wrestler, but a great individual, which to me is more important. And so that perspective shift and that change in lifestyle has really helped my approach to the sport. And that has helped my consistency, and that's why I remain successful.
All right, yep, we'll go right here, and then we'll come to you.
Wayne Drays from ESPN for Jordan. I'm curious, we see on social media you have your family with you a lot. Your wife and Beacon, and taking photos. You're one of the few athletes, I think, here this week who's brought your family with them. Why do you do that, and why is that important to you?
Wayne, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Well, I bring my wife around because I need someone to warn me every time I pee on the toilet seat every morning. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I love having my family with me. I love having my family around. This is something that is extremely important to me. Once you reach a certain level of success, you understand that you want people to share it with. And so having my son and my wife experience these things vicariously through me because of my hard work is awesome. I respect it, I appreciate it, and I work hard so they don't have to. And so them being here and me being able to provide them with experiences just through my hard work and my commitment to the sport of wrestling, there's nothing better in the world. Indirectly, they're getting to network and make connections with people because of what dad and husband have done. And so it's a great trade-off, very great trade-off. And so bringing them here is fun times. It's fun times. It's tough to be with your son in between photo shoots when you run in between sets, but also seeing his smile in between sets definitely gives me perspective going into a new room with a lot of lights and cameras. So it's all good stuff.
Tom Burke, Examiner.com. I'll direct this to Andy. On the heels of London Olympics, with the specter of the wrestling being pulled off the Olympic slate and then it being reinstated for 2020 and 2024, how much did that churn and decision-making in those years rock the wrestling community? And how has it changed the sport in terms of some of the rules and making it more fan-friendly as a result?
I think when that happened, the wrestling community kind of had to really take a step and look, what are we doing to the sport? And in Greco-Roman, they were the rules kind of were really significantly changing what the sport was in the in the 90s or early 2000s, and they needed to shake it up and try to get back to how it had been, where there was much more scoring on the feet, and they made some steps in the right direction for sure.
Brandon Penny with TeamUSA.org. This question's for Helen. Your World Championship win came in a non-Olympic weight class, so I know you were cutting weight to the Olympic weight class. How has that transition gone, and have you been competing at 53 this year?
Have I? Oh, definitely. All my interviews I was talking about food. But no, it's been a really interesting journey for me, especially with the weight changes. My 55 kilograms was always an Olympic weight. And when that changed, I had to make the decision to drop down or to go up, and I decided to drop down, lean out, and part of that was getting on this new diet plan. And I couldn't figure out why it was so challenging. We talk about willpower, and I can go through practice after practice, training, sprints, anything, but it was just so difficult this past year. I've lost 10% body fat. My strength coach just added so much. I've learned about the science of eating healthy, but it wasn't really natural to my personality to just wake up and have to time out every meal, every calorie, how many carbs do I get, and I'm told that I have to earn my calories, I have to earn my meals. And so that was a new challenge for me, but one of the things that it's kind of taught me on this journey that's just been so important is that I think we're always willing to work on our weaknesses, but sometimes we want to pick and choose what weakness we're going to work on. So if you ask me to go in the room and work on a move I'm not good at, great, I love getting better. But to ask myself to do this diet and just eat so extremely healthy, and just to an extreme level where I'm counting things out, it was really mentally challenging, but it taught me a lot about myself and just what's required. If you want to be the best, you have to go where no one's willing to go. And for me, the hardest part was the diet. I love wrestling, love running, love lifting, but the diet was really hard. So, Yeah, I love eating.
We'll take one more before we break out for individual sessions. If anyone has anything. Yeah, back there.
Gary Morgan with Great Lakes Sports Publications, and this for Helen Adeline. You trained up at Northern Michigan University. What was it like training up there, and what was your experience up there?
Adeline?
So Helen and I's experience, we were still in high school. We finished up our senior year of high school at the university, and we got used to training like an elite athlete, and that's what going up to Northern. We had never formally been trained in freestyle, and so this was our first experience truly getting into this different style of wrestling. We wrestled collegiate style in high school and went to some women's national events, but never really had understood the rules and understood kind of the dynamics of the different parterre positions, and had to go up there and learn to train like an elite athlete. And it made us grow up is really what it did. And we had a 4:30 a.m. practice, and then we went to high school, and then we came back, we took a quick nap, and then went to our second practice, and then did our homework and went to bed. And that was an everyday thing. And we had just kind of broken into the cusp of training on an international level, making junior world teams, making senior world teams, and just starting to realize what this world had to offer. The world of Olympic sports and Olympic caliber athletes is very unique and very different. It's something you have to get used to, and that was our transition year. They put us in a very snowy, dark place that didn't have the sunshine called Michigan, and the UP was an experience in itself, and we just were able to get used to the training regimen.
Yeah, just to add on that, it was Adeline and my first time moving away from home, and we actually were roommates, and we shared one room, and there was a bed, and then we shared a bathroom with two other athletes on the other side. But so it was a really different experience. I don't think we were really prepared for what we were getting into. But I also think that was the first time for us where wrestling stopped becoming a sport you did in high school and started becoming a business and your job and your career. And that was a really interesting transition, and I think we've been on the journey together through that whole time, so we've seen the ups and downs of adjusting to that, and it's been really helpful to kind of go through it together. So, but when you do what you love, it's never work. So.
Thanks. All right. We will conclude this and invite you to come back for individual breakout session with any of our 4 athletes right now. So thank you.